says it's offline right now for me,
Yeah.
anyways.
Oh, yeah, it's online now. Um, I'll wait for it to say online here. Let's see. Oh, hello and welcome to a new video. um, so here, can you see what I'm doing, Michael?
Mitchell. Thank
Mitchell.
you.
Is it called Mitchell?
Hey,
Sorry.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's Mitchell. Hey
Mitchell.
everyone. Let me just. I just gotta catch up to the live part, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put a refresh on it just to make sure I'm seeing what you're doing.
Awesome. So I'm drawing um, gopher bunny.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I've done a 100 days challenge where I have to mix animals together for 100 days. I thought I'd do that to like strengthen my like creature kind of abilities. I'll resend this link for you. Hopefully it'll work now.
Okay.
So I've gone ahead and pretty much redid the outlines in Photoshop, as you can see here.
All right. All right.
Um,
Uh, Go ahead.
yeah, you go.
Okay. Yeah. I just the streams of course a little bit lagged for me, so I don't know what your. It might be better option for us to. You can screen share on Skype.
Yeah,
And then I can see it live, and then it won't have the delay with the actual stream itself. Because right now
yes,
I'm seeing the delayed stream, right? So
yeah. So you can see my screen. I've got Gopher up.
there we go. There we
Um,
go.
so basically, I'm just swapping the colors of the Gopher. Um, I don't use it really as close reference. I just, use some of the colors and schemes in it. So we got Dystoth. How do you say your
My pen name is Dystoth.
Dystoth?
Correct.
Um,
Yeah.
or Michal,
Mitchell. Mitchell. Yeah.
Mitchell.
Yeah.
On the
This is
line at
Dan.
the moment.
Thanks, Daniel.
Yeah. And he's got some good work up. You can check out his art page here with some good works.
Yeah, that's just www.dystoth.com. So
Mm, yeah.
if you want to go there and take a look.
Kind of a sci-fi style in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, I kind of leaned a bit of that sci-fi stuff. I like that. I also originally I kind of was really into post-apocalyptic kind of works, and it kind of evolved into cyberpunk, which is pretty right now. So
Mm, okay. Yeah.
okay.
Have
So
you?
I see you're. Sorry,
No, go, go.
I see. It looks like you're just starting to add kind of the fur to the outline there.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so I haven't made any new layers. I've just stuck on the on one layer at the moment.
Okay, okay. And how
Uh,
do you usually tend to work on one layer? How do you find that?
um, it's a bit of here and there. Like sometimes I do just work on one layer, like a traditional painting.
Right.
But sometimes I use different layers. To save things. If I want to add something without it changing it to something I can't undo, if you get what that
Hmm.
means, like
Yeah,
yeah,
like kind of use it as a save point sort of thing.
yeah, I can use it as a save point. Um, and sometimes like you can add a brush over top, a layer with a brush texture,
Okay.
which I find interesting.
Yeah, and I personally I enjoy painting on one layer.
Hmm.
I typically stick with one layer and then just kind of add more layers, but I don't really I act as if I'm still using it as a classical painting. Just I have checkpoints, I like to say. But I think there's definitely merit in using just multiple layers as well. And it's
Hmm.
which for specific areas, which is very important, which I need to work on personally, I think. But
Yeah. Like, say, if you've got a creature in the background and you just want that on one layer.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that can, like, I've been doing a children's book lately, and that was like 65 pages or something, so it was 30 spreads. Um,
Okay, that's quite a few.
yeah, quite a few paintings. But you can see with my layering systems, they keep getting better, and you can see with my previous paintings, the layering system was just shattered everywhere. Like I had 20 layers, and when I came to edit it, it just became so confusing. Like
Yeah,
which thing was on every layer, and um,
I know. I know. When I was learning, one of my paintings, it was like 260 layers or something at some point.
yeah.
Um, and I had some serious organization at that point to keep me on track because it got pretty confusing.
Mm. Yeah, that's why I like to stick to a single layer. Um,
Yeah, I almost find it's a speed thing for me because you don't have to think about the layering system. You just that said, people that do use layers, they get pretty quick at it. So,
yeah, it's all how you organize it in a way, eh?
so did you find any challenges specific to the Gopher Bunny?
Um, when I was drawing it, I was thinking, how would I merge these two animals? Would it
Right.
be half bunny, or would it be a bunny with a gopher's head, or how would that work?
Okay. What
Um,
conclusions did you come to?
in the end, I chose to basically have kind of a stay true to the gopher side of the body, but just have a couple of bunny features added on, like the big bunny ears and the bunny like tail, like the yeah.
All right. All right. And did you? I mean, I'm just seeing the beginning of your painting here. I never quite saw the original sketch, but did you find it difficult to make it not look like it's just a bunny standing up rather than because gophers are kind of always doing that little stand-up thing on their hind legs, right? Which it looks like you're going for here.
Yeah, um, yeah, it was like, so I've had more challenges along this way. There's been a hundred of them. I think there's 90 something at the moment. I'm up to.
Okay.
Um, so every animal I mix together, I find a challenge. But you can see the progress in you know, from day one to day 100. You can see the progress at the moment. Um,
Okay. You can see improvement over time.
yes,
Is what
yeah,
you're saying? Yes.
definitely. Um,
That's what we aim for.
mm, um, so yeah, this is a New Zealand challenge at the moment. It's almost finished. It's called the 100-day challenge.
Okay.
So basically you do something creative for 100 days.
I see. Okay.
Um,
You chose to do mixed matched animals.
yeah, mix and mix animals. Um, I mean, so this is my original sketch.
Okay. And what number was this on your 100
Day 3.
day 3? Okay.
So I would say I was pretty young in this challenge. Um, you know.
And so I'm taking it have you done two other that you've converted to digital at this point?
Yes. So I've had two videos so far that I've done digital paintings with, which is the first one I can't remember. Yesterday I did a star lizard, so a starfish and a lizard.
Okay.
Um, and the first one can't remember what it was.
Man, you're gonna have troubles remembering your Gopher Bunny once you get to number 100.
Yeah, yeah. It'll come up. I'll remember and I'll be like, oh, that's what it was.
Right, right. So, what was your do you have your sketch available to see what your progression looks like now on day 90, or have you not scanned that in yet?
Yeah. So if you want to check that out, it's on my 100 days page.
Okay, and that's on DeviantArt?
No, it's a website called 100 Days Project. Um,
Okay.
so I can
Maybe I'll
see.
pull it up here and we can take a look. I can take a look at it.
Yeah, I'll just get it up and running. Oops. So I'm going over with like this grey color. Whoops. Just putting an undercoat pretty much on him. One thing about layers though is that when you can have a drawing on one layer and you can either paint under it or over it if you wanted to.
That's true. That's true.
Which is nice if you've got a simple drawing like this where you could add in some background materials as well.
Definitely. And do you plan to put on a bit of a background for this this Gopher rabbit?
Yeah, definitely, because at the moment he is a bit boring on his own.
Alright.
I think he needs a kind of background to tell a little bit more of a story.
Right, right. And do you have an idea for that already?
Possibly some grass and, rabbits like holes.
Yeah, gophers like holes too, so that's pretty easy.
Yeah. So they both would live underground.
Right.
It seems to be with Photoshop here, it slows down with every little process I do on top of it.
Yeah, you got your broadcasting now. We got Skype sharing. It's starting to bog it down a bit, I can imagine. Even on a good computer, that can. Well, I guess it's your internet connection more, but that can. OBS and Skype sharing take up quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, this is my 100 days at the moment.
Okay.
So yeah, I did a sloth, slothopus, which is a platypus and a sloth.
Okay. I was thinking a sloth and an octopus when you first said it, but I like that that sort of ox elephant, I believe it is.
This one here, eh?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like the structure of the elephant body, and I think that one looks pretty good. You can definitely see compared to your gopher that it's a lot improved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's also like I tend to, because it's a big challenge, so I'm quite busy, and I have to do this challenge on top of everything else.
Right, and it's every day, so that's
yeah.
a bit.
So sometimes it can be a like 10-20 minute sketch.
Right, right.
And
Sometimes it ends up being an hour, I imagine.
Yeah, so I think it's one of the ones I actually took some time on,
Right.
And as I went along, Inktober came up as well.
Okay, yeah, that was a big one. There was posts for that all over the place.
Yeah, it was a big Inktober, wasn't it? So yeah, I did more with doing inks on top. So that was another process, but it brought more life to the characters, I think. And now I'm doing them in pen, so I do pencil and pen.
Okay. Yeah, they definitely look pretty nice though. From day 1 to day 90, there's definitely improvement. What's how long would you consider yourself to have been working at as an artist, like to actually improve rather than just kind of messing around?
Um, I'd say like the last 4 years I've been, because I've been studying at institutions. Um, so that's when I really kind of pushed my art a bit further.
I see, I see. And are you been happy with your progress or?
Yes, very. Do you know Bobby Chio?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you always gotta know Bobby Chio. He's really good. I've been watching all his art tips and everything, and um, he helps me see what I can improve on.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've been working in a different range of mediums.
I see.
Um, so I started off doing like mostly color pencil, um, and then went on to more digital stuff. Um, I
Okay.
still, I still though do some traditional drawings. Like with my 100 days, I did them all traditionally. So I still do something traditionally every day.
Okay. Okay. And do you prefer traditional mediums or do you prefer digital?
Um, at the moment, I'm a bit more digital than I would like to be.
You're a bit more digital than you'd like to be, hey?
Yeah, I do.
Int-
Do prefer like traditional, um, but digital just becomes so much quicker.
Mhm. And me being somebody who prefers digital greatly over traditional, maybe you can enlighten me a bit of what you see in appealing to traditional versus digital.
I think there's just so much more like freedom and preciseness that you can use with traditional. Um, like with digital, to be able to get precise painting skills, you have to have like a really fancy Wacom or something like that. I
Right.
think, for my experience. Um,
Well, what are you using for a walk?
I use a Wacom Cintiq, I think it's 12 HD.
12 HD. So that must be one of the older models for a Cintiq.
Yeah.
Or
Um,
because I think they're 13 inches the standard now, right? So could be wrong, but
I got it only a year ago. That
oh,
no,
okay, maybe I'm wrong.
oh, no, yeah, it's 13 HD. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
I
Well,
wasn't
I,
100% sure.
I mean, I think Cintiqs are in general pretty good, and I mean maybe this I've never used a Cintiq myself, but perhaps the smaller screen size is maybe where you're finding a hindrance there, just since you're limited to that. Rather, like for me, I use a very small Wacom tablet, but
Yeah.
I'm drawing onto a 27-inch monitor, right? So
No, I really like 13 inch. Like I don't find a
okay,
problem with it. It's just like I just feel that with print pencil you can get out every stroke um,
right.
in the way you want it. Um,
And I could see that because digital sometimes feels a little bit like a loss of control a bit in what you're doing.
hmm.
For your stroke wise. And I mean I've done digital for so long I don't notice anything like that anymore, I'd say, but maybe it's just there and I'm used to it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did quite a few mediums actually. Like a couple of months back I did a watercolor class. Um,
Okay.
and that was new to me because I don't think I might have played around at school with watercolors, but I never done a proper watercolor painting. Um, for the result though that I got from doing that class, I was quite surprised. Because I think
In what way?
um, I was surprised that I could create something quite wonderful um, out of a new medium.
Okay.
But you think about it, you always like you bring in your traditional into your digital. Um, if you think about it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, any skills you learn can enhance other skills, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's something I've lost. I originally when I started, I was just sketching as a kind of a teenager for fun, right?
Yeah.
And on pencil and paper, and then somebody introduced me to a Wacom, and I never went back. But um, I can't draw. Like I lost so much of my skill with pencil and paper. Maybe it's just because I don't have the patience for it, or the lack of color. But that was what got me started, and
Hmm.
I think I me helps though because I've been trying to go back to it, and I notice the more I sketch with pencil and paper, the more I'm getting better with just digital sketching as well. So
Yeah, that's the thing. You gotta keep it up, like 'cause it's a skill you don't want to lose, drawing, especially
hmm
for people like you and me. Um,
yeah, definitely. I find also another bonus of it is that people tend to you can do drawing pretty much anywhere when you have a mark, so you can impress
hmm.
people a lot easier, and it's fun to impress people. So
Yeah. Um, I don't
it's
know.
awkward to pull out your phone and try and show somebody your art sometimes when you could just show them a sketchbook or drawn right in front of them.
Yeah, that's the one. And it's interesting, like throughout the years, um, looking at the arts, like they didn't have Wacoms back then. Um, what if they did have Wacoms back in those days? Would they look the same kind of art feel, or what would have happened to them?
Yeah, I think the early digital painting was really a progression. I don't know when Wacom or a similar company first came out with their thing, but I imagine it was nowhere near the quality of what it is today.
No.
Before, so, like for comic books and stuff, that and like where I say comic books because that was probably the area where you saw the type of art that people do nowadays digitally, typically for video games and such. When video games weren't a huge thing until they were a thing either.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and I feel like so there would have been mostly comic books, I would think, and movie posters and stuff like that, or I suppose with novel covers, but and back then, they only had those traditional mediums to produce the fantasy kind of stuff that we produce today, mostly on digital. And I've seen some of it, and it is impressive to see. And they still, of course, people still do it too. But some
Hmm.
of the work people have done digital or traditionally, that you would typically see that type of art on a digital medium is very relaxing and refreshing to look at sometimes.
Yeah. I don't know if we were in an era where like traditional was coming back because there's just so much digital out there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say, I think, because digital's so fast moving. Like I know when I first started digital art 5 years ago, the community was like ArtStation didn't really exist back then and stuff like that, or at least
Yeah.
I never noticed it. But it's grown rapidly in the past 5 years when I started, which I mean I was 15 5 years ago, it was, and I was just messing around at that time. But
Yeah.
that was back when Feng Zhu is just starting his art tutorials online. Most digital artists should know who Feng Zhu is. But
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah, um, yeah.
So when would you say you first cracked down on art?
I first started cracking down.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard for me to say because I would say about 5 years ago I really started trying to do art rather than just like who hasn't drawn sketches before, you know.
Hmm.
But I definitely was like I drew as a kid, but I was not one of those kids who you know drew all the time and then it just developed into an art. I was about 15 when I got an interest for it.
Yeah.
Um, it's, I've been very on and off with my art. There's times where I've quit for 3 months, 6 months, 8 months at a time, in that time period, just because of things I was going through with my life and um, other aspects of life that I was venturing through. And I wasn't sure if art was really something that I was completely passionate about. And I wasn't somebody who just knew what they wanted to do because I wanted to do so many things,
Hmm.
I really had to explore those other things a bit before I came back to art and decided this is what I truly wanted to do. And it's only been recently that I've really started pursuing it as a full passion, because I have done that in the past, but it always seemed to fall out because I hadn't tried other things yet. But
Yeah.
yeah, so it's a little hard to give an exact time because there's been so many times I've quit. But I would say about 5 years ago was when I first got my interest, and maybe just the past month or so, I've as simple as it sounds, I was studying computer science, and I just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
As I just would sit there and I was in class wishing I was painting all the time, and so that kind of told me what I knew I really wanted to be doing. So I've uh, I've actually quit computer science school for some other reasons as well, and now I'm kind of dedicating myself full time to art. So
Hmm. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. Do you with the things that you learn from like your computer science, do you ever bring that into your art or?
they're definitely something go hand in hand. They say computer science and artists use the same parts of their brains. Programmers do,
Yeah.
which I don't know, but I know it's definitely influenced some of my subject matter. So I started drawing more cyberpunk and techie looking stuff once I started
Mm.
going to computer science. Um, but I personally haven't seen any huge impacts of it. But I've seen artists before. I've met artists who have written their own programs to enhance their that like generally proceed or that like randomly generated like cities so that they could use them as their template for doing illustrations and stuff. And
Wow.
without
Yeah.
without their programming background, because they never would have done that. And some of those are very successful artists nowadays. Were originally computer science. So
Hmm.
definitely are things that go very hand in hand, like 3D program. All the software, digital artists are using software made by computer scientists. So, but yeah, I personally haven't seen too many. But it's a very recent switch that I've switched from doing computer science to this. So perhaps in the
Yeah.
future I will see some instances where programming or something of the sort will come into hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like you're starting to add a touch of a landscape there for the rabbit, or sorry, the
Standing up rabbit.
standing up rabbit,
I think I
gopher
need to
rabbit.
bring in like that weird gopher Mimi.
Oh, I do. The one that's been around for like ages.
Yeah. I see if we can find that and just maybe I can bring some elements in from that. Did anyone know it was a dramatic gopher?
Yeah, that's it.
Hmm. Yeah, so I'll bring some of this in. So what medium, what kind of illustration do you do mostly?
No, I'm still exploring that a bit. I don't know if I'm more interested in kind of a concept. That's kind of my style is more concepty right now. It's a little looser than some things, but think I would be more interested in working to kind of card art, like I don't know, Magic the Gathering, or I don't know, Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh kind of card art. Um,
Mm.
kind of styles, some more illustrative styles.
Yeah, like fantasy.
Yeah, definitely fantasy, sci-fi, like video
Mm.
games or something of the sort would be the area that I would aspire to work in one day.
Yeah. Cool.
And how about yourself?
Me, I tend to find I'm more of like a kids illustrator. Um,
Okay.
so I love to get into kids books and things like that, publications more than gaming. Um, but I mean,
And
hmm?
how do you find that world? I've never been exposed to that world of art too much. How do you
um,
find just like have you done some jobs in it
um, I've
or worked
done,
on some publications?
yeah, I've worked on a front cover um, for like a young adults children's book.
Okay.
So like more teenager stuff, and I illustrated and wrote my own book as well.
Oh, nice, nice.
That
Personal
would,
projects are always a great thing to do.
yeah, it's part of just a course I've just finished. So
And
yeah,
so did you have yours published?
not yet, um, but I will be
Or,
looking into that.
yeah. Okay. Perfect. Um, so having worked on that things, how do you find how do you find it working for client or working for other people's work doing such a
Well, working for other people, is interesting. Um, depending on like, because I've worked for two clients so far. Um, I've worked with a group of people, so that was hard because you had to consider quite a few people's opinions. Um,
right?
but working for one client was good. You never know what they're going to decide on, what they like. It was interesting because the concept I did design, or did um, the concept drawing I did make, um, we both thought we liked that concept.
Okay. So he actually voted for your work rather than vouching for his, is what you're saying.
Um, so I came up with three concepts, and
Okay.
we both chose the one we liked.
Okay.
We both chose the same one.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got confused there. Um,
Sorry.
no, that's my fault. I was a little bit distracted for half a moment.
I
Um, so so that's always awesome when when you get to work on the piece that you preferred the most.
hmm. It's a hard industry to get into, really.
Is it quite competitive?
Uh yeah, just as much as gaming is
Yeah.
really.
Which anybody who's working digital art knows is a very competitive,
Mm. Well,
at least in my experience.
that's the thing. In the day, everyone has had access to a pencil and a paper, but now it seems everyone has access to a computer.
Right, right. And it's as computers just get more powerful, it's an average computer can do digital art nowadays,
Mm. Yeah.
without too much fault, whereas maybe 10 years ago it wasn't as common for such a thing to happen. You had to really spend on a good computer back then. And with most people who are doing art for games and stuff like that are gamers themselves and already have the hardware they need to do so.
Mm. Yeah, that's the thing. They have a passion for gaming and just turn what they do into a job.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, it keeps me really running slow.
Would it be beneficial if we were to drop one of the Skype call or the screen sharing or
Um,
um,
it could
something
be.
else? Yeah,
Yeah.
we give it a try if you want.
Yep. So cancel the screening. Oh, stop sharing. How's that? How's that? Oh yeah, it's faster.
Okay, that's good.
So we'll just grab this brush again. How about your brush sets? Do you use many brush sets?
I do use quite a few brushes, and I tend to interchange a bit. I've been trying to stick to just recently, and if anybody, the piece I'm working on right now, I'm trying to, I've been doing bad at it, but I've been trying to stick to just the soft round brush to try and get a more of a rounded style.
Oh yeah.
But typically I use a lot of really textured, heavy textured, gritty kind of brushes, just because that's kind of the style I like to go for.
Mm.
I think my brush library or whatever you may call it has like 300 brushes in it or something, but I probably only use about 15 or 20 of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you ever like set up your own brush library so you can, know which brushes you are using? Or you just
What I did in my brush set in Photoshop was I made brushes that had words on them. Like they're just like squares with like one says like main or like grunge, or I have one that says hair brushes, one spider for spider webs, or botany for kind of plant looking brushes.
yeah.
And so I just kind of look and I can see these brushes in my brush set that say what brushes behind them are. No, I've never gone ahead and set up the. I know there's a better way to do that, but I haven't done it myself. So.
Oh, me neither. It's just like just questioning, you know.
Mhm.
I just
Yeah,
I downloaded Brush, but I seem to just use the typical brushes.
they sort of default.
Yeah, all their defaults.
I see. I see.
Don't know why. I just do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've worked with over time. I kind of I tend to use common brushes, and then over time I get sort of bored actually. So I switch to something else just to mix it up, and maybe adjust my style a little bit. But I know, like I used to use calligraphy brushes for painting quite a bit, but it actually started to crash my computer, um,
Oh, yeah.
or my Photoshop rather, which that's no for painting because there goes hours of time. So.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where I actually, for months, couldn't figure out what was going on with my computer, and I couldn't get more than 10 minutes of drawing in. So that was a hit to my artistic career at that time, which is actually one of the reasons I started exploring computer science,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
my digital wasn't working, and I got really frustrated, and somehow that's how it goes. But
Yeah.
but I've used calligraphy brushes, and I've used just hard round and stuff. I've used chalk brush quite a bit.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I do find doing environments versus like illustrators or characters, I tend to use different brushes as well.
Oh, yeah. So like you do different ones for characters and different ones for landscapes.
Yeah, like I tend to use more soft round for characters or portraits, and
Hmm.
I almost never use the chalk brush in portraiture and stuff like that. I sometimes use it just to give a little relief to what using the soft round, but typically that's something I'd more use in environment work.
Yeah.
Um, and then some of the like I just for detail in environments, I find the more textured brushes with grunge tend to work a little bit, but you look at a person's face and it can get a little difficult to use a grungy brush
Hmm.
on it. Then again, I've seen people that use those grunge brushes more as like a paint stroke kind of thing, and they can do it very well. But for detail, I find it for those high texture brushes. How
Yeah.
about you? Do you use any sort of textured brushes or kind of botanical
Um,
type brushes?
I usually don't at all
Okay.
really use any. But it depends. Like yesterday, when I was doing my sand, I just used a texture brush that I had to create that sand effect. So yeah, it all depends. Like what kind of work I'm doing.
Okay.
Like with the grass here, I've used I think it's just a typical hair tool that's default with Photoshop.
All right.
But I've still yet to explore really, using brushes and things. Um, but
Yeah, that
yeah,
definitely is something that, for the most part, just comes with experimenting and practicing brushes. Just, I know when I first started, I was very much soft round and hard round, and I'll get out of that stage.
hmm, um, it's just I mean, there's tons available. See, I've downloaded a few heaps that I've got, um, but it's just like I never find a reason to use them. If I had more reasons to use them, I would.
I see. Okay.
It's like you've done mini backgrounds, so you would probably be dealing with a um, more textures and things like that.
Right. And yeah, some of those. Sometimes the texture brushes, I almost use them just to suggest detail
Mm,
rather than and often, I don't know if you, it's probably a bad habit. People always say like, don't get in there, don't start rendering stuff too much before you've got the base,
yeah.
like the big shapes down kind of thing, right?
Mm,
I'm bad for, I'll take my texture brushes and I'll suggest a bunch of details as placeholder and
yeah.
then come back and fix it later, which is maybe a little dumb because I'm wasting time when I'm just going to be going in and doing it anyways. But I find it just keeps the painting more interesting for me, having something there and something that already looks detailed, even though it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
because losing interest in a piece of work can really be a struggle, and you lose quality. I find when you lose interest in if you're working on a piece.
hmm.
I don't know if you suffer from the same sort of thing or not. But,
Uh, Not really, but I was listening to, was it Nathan Fawkes yesterday? I think it was Nathan Fawkes. Um, he was talking about how um, when you make something look real, what's the point? Because why not just have the photo?
right,
So you really need to, you know, like you're saying, um, have that texture in there, have the placeholders even.
right. I see. Like leave it there just because it's
It's something different to just having a
right,
photo.
right. And I'm gonna pull up. I once did a painting. You can see it in my website too, which of a girl, and it was as photorealistic as I could pull off at the time. Um, and I agree. It's kind of a useless. I mean, it's impressive when people see that it's a painting, but at the same time, it's pointless almost and uninteresting because why not just take a photo?
But this one, see, if you take closer looks, you do have like a texture going on in your um, painting. You have a style or something that differentiates it from the photo itself.
On which piece is that?
The
Yeah.
gill, I think it's the gill you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I suppose I know in like the hair and stuff like that, there's a lot more texture going on.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, and I agree. Like, if you can, I always thought like people that can pencil sketch perfectly. What is the point really?
Hmm.
Because I mean, it's cool. It's very impressive skill to have, but at the same time, it just looks like a black and white photo, and I could have taken the photo. So
Yeah. Yeah, you really need to like change something or just have something um, that you want to show with the piece in a way.
hmm. And what do you tend to do to try and make that happen for yourself?
Um, a lot of the time, I like to create something new, um, something I can show my audience. Like here, I've created a gopher gopher bunny thing. So it doesn't. You can't get a photo of a gopher bunny. Um, Maybe one day you could.
Once genetic splicing and stuff becomes more popularized, maybe. But right now, right now there's no gopher bunnies. So
No gopher bunnies. So yeah, I like to bring them joy in a photo. I mean, in a painting. Um, yeah. How about yourself?
how do I go about making it not look like just a carbon copy of a photo?
Yeah.
Um, well, I guess typically when I'm working from a reference, tend to just I tend to change a lot because usually I'm going for a concept that is not in this world. I guess that's the biggest aim is if you can find it in this world, in our world, you can take a picture of it.
Yeah.
So I try to paint things that I can't find in this world because then nobody can go and take a picture of it, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So I guess that's one thing I really keep in mind. But other than that, uh, I love brushstrokes. I love seeing the brushstrokes, seeing the texture, which instructors I tend to get a lot of flack from. I find because they want to see realistic because it's very important to be able to render realistic because if you can render realistic, then you can render realistic looking imaginated things.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, so and to do that, you have to start. You often the best way to start is by rendering out realistic things that are rendering realistically real things because it's a lot easier to practice from things that are real. But I mean, in concept art, it's your objective is to make it look as real as it possibly is, even though it isn't real. So, so I guess it depends what you're doing. But in illustrative work and portraits, I like to see that grit behind the paintbrush.
Hmm. The grit. But you're really showing them your idea, and you want to make it believable.
True. Yes. Yeah. And I guess it's about you have to have a balance in everything. You want it to look as real as you can, but sometimes I find the stuff that is super rendered, super polished, just isn't even as interesting to me. And but I mean, maybe that's just me. That stuff is impressive when it is realistic as it can. Also, I mean, it really comes down to a personal style. Each artist tends to have a bit of a style, um, and that style is really what branches you away from just looking like you're painting a photo.
Hmm. Yeah.
I don't know if you agree with my thoughts, but those are my thoughts.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Each artist has a unique style in a way. Um. Hmm.
So, so it looks like you've kind of got the front of the rabbit there, or the we'll call it the hybrid. This is
The
easier for me to
hybrid.
say. The
Yep.
hybrid. Um, looks like you've got a darker. Is that shadow or is that just a different color of fur on where its chest there?
It's like meant to be shadow.
Okay.
I kind of just kept it there, just a wee bit. I will be because I tend to like see with these brushes, I tend to create my own like textures as I go.
Okay.
I've dealt with a lot of furry textures. Um, so I like to just layer each one. And with fur, it takes a little while to texture them.
Yeah, fur is. I haven't done too many furry creatures at all, so it's something I'm not too experienced in. But there's a lot to render there. I've done hair though, so there's
Hmm.
a lot to. I find you really need to kind of make it a whole object, and then the rest you add details in the places that is your focal point to make it more fine, like noticing all the little different tufts and stuff.
Hmm. Okay. Yep. And I'm going for, I don't know, it's kind of a Alice in Wonderland theme, I suppose, with the rabbit hole.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's why I'm thinking that the dark should be towards the shadow there, towards the hole. So the light's coming
Okay.
from the top left corner. Um,
Okay. I see. I see. So he's kind of looking down the hole.
mm,
Is that what you're saying, or
yeah,
yeah?
he's kind of
Yeah. And
thinking about that hole. Um,
how deep does it go?
Nobody will know.
Yeah.
This almost could be like a little story about the Gopher Bunny, almost.
Yeah. Have a whole book behind this gopher bunny. After escaping the illegal lab of animal splicing, it tried to find its natural habitat. I don't know.
Hmm. So I'm still trying to like bring in some more of this Mimi, Gopher Mimi. Just slightly.
Oh, okay. You're trying to
There you go.
bring more, use it as a reference more. So yeah, it's starting. I'm starting to see the gopher in it a lot more.
Hmm. That's a good thing. Yeah. Just going over again. I don't want to get too textural at some points though. Um, how do you end up like not putting too much texture in places?
Well, you see, the trick is you want to put texture in your focal area because if you have texture everywhere, the eye doesn't know where to go. But if
Hmm.
you so let's just say on yours, I would say maybe the focus would be right around the nostril and the eye there, and below that a bit. So you'd want to have your really fine texture detailed right around that focal area. And then
Yeah.
the eyes like texture, so they'll go to it and they'll
Hmm.
relax in the other areas. So that's how I tend to work that. But yeah.
It's a thing you have to experiment with, really, don't you?
Yeah. But no, it's not necessarily best just to get the highest rendered texture everywhere you can.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Um, and I suppose it's with these brushes here, you don't sometimes you don't have control of how much texture comes out in a way.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you can make adjustments, but
Yeah.
it's not as much control maybe as traditional would offer.
Um. hmm. Yep.
But yeah, if you wanted to add texture for fur, I would typically use a more of a hair, like a fur type brush, just because it's a lot simpler. But you're just rendering it out with kind of the standard brush. You sort of just have to go in there and do strand by strand almost.
Yeah. That's what I do traditionally is just do strands because we don't have brushes with traditional. Um,
Right.
it can be, time consuming, but I think that you can get a better result
A better result with what sort?
with taking more time, you know.
Yes, yes, for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Knowing when to stop your painting is always kind of something difficult because, in my thoughts, you can almost always take your painting further,
Yes.
like or your drawing or whatever it may be. There's always room for improvement, right? But it's not practical to put 1,000 hours into a painting, really. Um, Not that people have done it, definitely, but you know, I know I would lose interest after 1,000 hours.
Yeah.
Um, but even like and I'm just using that as an extreme example. Even like 30 hours feels quite a bit for a single painting.
Hmm.
Um, And after putting in, you get to a point where you're done, but you know you could go further. But at some point, you accept it as you're done. I don't know how you go about that, but I kind of just get a feeling like, yeah, I've accomplished what I set out to accomplish.
Yeah, I suppose it's depending on what you're doing, but yeah, it's to a certain point you get across what you wanted to get across with the piece. Um, yeah,
Right.
and
Yeah.
if you've achieved that right, then that's kind of the point to stop.
Yeah. And do you kind of get like a, maybe just me, but I've heard other people mention before, but you almost get like a feeling of that it's accomplished. Like you
Hmm.
feel in your gut that you've achieved it, sort of thing. You know. I don't know if it's the same for you, but
Yeah, definitely some sort of feeling. Like right now, I would say this is about finished.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
good in that sense of finish.
Yeah.
And not that the viewers can necessarily see it, but the piece I'm working on right now, I'm feeling pretty far off from finished.
Mm.
Just looking at it, so I definitely don't have that feeling yet.
No.
No.
Can we see that piece? See what?
Yeah, it's I you can what would be the best way to show it for all viewers? You guys can go check out my stream if you want, just temporarily, and then I'm not trying to steal your viewers.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but I'll just post it in a link there in chat. It's whoops, that's not what I want. Let's take that. There we go.
Yeah.
Say something. How do I use about using? I've never really worked too much with. I stream on Twitch, so
Yeah.
um, I use this chat too much. But
Well, you just paste it in the chat, don't you? I think.
yeah, just I click on the say something and nothing happens.
Oh, I don't know.
It says by clicking you agree. Okay,
More buttons.
sure, sure. There. Okay. So yeah, there's. Oh, it doesn't let you send links, apparently. So I'm gonna add like an exclamation points at the end. Oh, it still doesn't let me do that.
Okay.
Um. Anyways, if you,
Just send it to me on Skype or something.
oh yeah, yeah. I suppose like that makes more sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. I can just
Um.
put it down in the description. But yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
and it's kind of a rough portrait. I'm practicing trying to. I can do portraits from reference quite easily. I find, but working imaginated portraits I'm struggling with. So kind
Mm,
of what I'm trying to do right now. Um, you
yeah.
can see I did this master study today for a couple hours,
Yeah.
which mine's of course is the one on the right. Uh, but and I found it didn't go maybe as well, but I still feel like this is a solid portrait and maybe doesn't resemble him as much as it should. But with the results, and I'm trying to kind of start to implement that on this, which I've kind of mixed textured brushes with my initial round, which is kind of showing a lot right now. So
Mm,
I would like to aim for something a lot more like the other portraits you may have showed in the stream there of mine, which was from reference. I should mention.
yeah.
So
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I've worked with a lot of reference really. Um. Although with my book, I did because I've created my own characters. I didn't really need to use reference. I
right,
used I used the character designs that I had used to use that as reference.
okay, that's I like that.
Um, so I suppose it's a way you can um, use what you've done in the past, maybe,
Hmm.
to use as a
As
reference.
a reference, right,
Yeah, like a sketch of basically the outline of the face or something.
right.
Um,
And At this point, I probably would have pulled up some reference myself, but piece in particular is for a class I'm taking,
Yeah.
and it just reference was not you're not allowed to use reference for this specific piece, so I'm kind of out of luck there.
It's a new
Uh,
thing, isn't it?
it is, yeah. So
So you've
it's.
never done a
I
like
mean,
a
I have. I've tried. I can pull
mm,
one up here, and it looks awful. I personally think, but I mean, it's what it is. So, and I never finished it, but I'll pull it up. Should be right around here, and I believe it is called. I believe this is it. Just loading here. Yeah. So this was a portrait I attempted to do without any reference, and like the face is just makes me cringe looking at it now. So I don't really like. I mean, and also the anatomy of the arms and most of it's got issues. But
yeah,
but you know
100%.
that's how you
Oh
learn,
yeah.
right? By doing these kind of things, right? So you don't always get the
Mm,
best looking piece, but even in doing the piece, you get better for your next piece, right?
yeah. Yeah. Ooh. It's interesting.
So are you gonna are I'm not sure how long you wanted to go for today. Are you just gonna leave it off it with
Yeah,
the one animal sketch?
well,
But
thank you for joining. That's pretty much me.
that's all
um,
right.
I hope guys there have enjoyed this.
Yeah, thanks. I quite enjoyed it, so thank you for everybody for listening to me for an hour.
Yeah, thank you. We've had 2 watching now, so those 2 people, goodbye. um, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll just end that stream.